the state of our republic is beyond dire. We need more than a Declaration of Independence. We need an emergency declaration of survival. We need the people to realize the fall of the republic is happening now. Today, I went back and looked at the articles of impeachment from back in the 1970s against Richard Milhouse Nixon. And it was stunning how Obama has done everything Nixon did publicly, far surpassed it, and not gotten in any trouble. And the reason I was thinking about the impeachment of Nixon was the fact that today, Boehner, the Speaker of the House, came out, the Republican leader who plays golf and hangs out with Obama constantly, and said, we're not going to impeach Obama, as if he controls everything through his dictatorial position as the Speaker of the House. Well, he's not technically a dictator, so it should be up to the House itself. Now, some Republicans argue that, hey, he's so unpopular, let's just win a bunch of points by keeping him in office instead of making him the victim. Look, I want to scare the Republicans as well. They're just as bad in many cases as the Democrats. The Republican leadership with NAFTA and GATT and the Police State Patriot Act and all of their corporate welfare, the banker bailouts that were bipartisan, the list goes on and on. The Iraq War. I want crimes like Benghazi Gate and, of course, Solyndra and the energy deals and Fast and Furious and all of it to be punished. You notice it gets worse and worse and worse. Now,
the United States. This is a huge influx of people to be dropped into the streets. Now, McAllen, Texas, for instance, is seeing a huge influx of all of this traffic. Now, what just happened exposed, once again, the framework of this whole orchestration. These people were showing up at the Greyhound bus stations in McAllen. Now, when they showed up just this past 48 hours, something went wrong. These people showed up and there was no one there to meet them, and they did not have any tickets or anything else, and they were stranded. Now, these people are being called detainees. When they get dumped into the streets of the United States, they are no longer detained. This is an illusion, a trick on your mind, as well as a psyop, as well as an infiltration of our country.
With an estimated 11 to 12 million foreign nationals living illegally in the United States and a crush of underage would-be immigrants arriving daily, Republican lawmakers like Senator Jeff Sessions are pinning the blame on the Obama administration.
The sad reality of lax enforcement, plus the lack of a clear message, is what's driving the surge. The reality is, if you get into the country today, you're not being deported. That's true.
But America's immigration challenges cannot be solved through law enforcement alone, according to Democratic Senator Harry Reid.
Our schools cannot handle this influx. We don't even know what all diseases they have. Our healthcare systems can't withstand this influx. It's like having a home and inviting everybody to your home because you've got a good job, things are going well. Before long, you got everybody sleeping all over the floor, and you can't afford to feed them, give them health care, and you can't even afford to take care of their needs. This is where we're headed, and bankruptcy is one of the places you go, especially when you're using money as we do. That really our currency is just a check. It used to be backed up by gold or silver. Now it's just a check saying, hey, trust us, we'll pay you for this check. But we're seeing more and more, and I saw over the weekend, there's a deal between South Korea and China to go around using dollars. So, this is a good way to bankrupt the country in addition to overwhelming all of our services.
Of tyranny. That's what you see when you look at Obama. Kurt Nemo did a great graphic on the front page of Infowars.com that shows the seal of Homeland Security with an illegal climbing over barbed wire. They don't need to do that. You just get on a plane, get on a bus, give yourself to the Border Patrol, and they're not allowed to take you back over now. That's on record. You were brought in and then released. And if you can get here, you're basically legalized. It is by fiat, total amnesty, and advertising, come here to collapse the borders and create a humanitarian crisis. And we've got border sheriffs, the head of the Border Patrol Union, and others saying this is amnesty by fiat. This is like Hurricane Katrina. Border sheriff likens influx of illegal immigrants to Hurricane Katrina.
Developing tonight as an unprecedented crisis unfolds at our southern border, the White House welcomes a group of illegal immigrants shielded from deportation by the president's policies, calling the group champions of change. The National Border Control Council calls this a, quote, slap in the face. Joining me now, Texas Attorney General Greg Abbott and Arizona Attorney General Tom Horne. Gentlemen, good of you to be here. I mean, I said in the break, you know, Mr. Abbott, you can't make this up.
Megan, this is unbelievable. We have about 1,000 arrests per day. This is an administration-made disaster, and it's because of one thing, and that's because of the lack of enforcement of the rule of law. In Texas, we're working with the administration to try to get the rule of law enforced on our border. However, we're prepared to enforce the rule of law if the Obama administration does not step up and solve this problem.
How are you going to do it?
Well, I have personally been involved with the Texas Department of Public Safety in surge operations on the border. These have proven to be very effective. What we do, we have DPS officers go to the border, put more boots on the ground, assets on the water, and in the sky. We can see all the illegal activity taking place. We're able to stop that illegal activity. My request right now into the Homeland Security Department is asking for the resources that will pay for this surge activity for several months period of time so that we can blunt these forces that are leading to 1,000 arrests per day.
Attorney
They're being apprehended. But the problem is that our system is so broken, so unclear.
Say that things that the White House did are to blame for what's happening at the border, and if the president goes forward with more executive actions as he's promised, we could be seeing similar situations for years to come.
The speaker, in an op-ed piece written on CNN.com, says President Obama is grossly overstepping his authority. He says over the last 5 years, starting, not coincidentally, when his political party lost the majority in the House of Representatives, the president has consistently overstepped his authority under the Constitution, and in so doing, eroded the power of the legislative branch.
John Boehner has been trying to thread this needle for years now, where he has this wing of his party that wants to take really aggressive action against the president. Now, as you said, we're starting to hear these rumblings about possibly going forward with impeachment. So in a way, this possible lawsuit is Boehner trying to say, hey guys, maybe we shouldn't do impeachment, but look, I am being aggressive. I am trying to take action against the president.
Michael Bloomberg, the former New York City mayor, started a gun control organization called Everytown USA. It will issue questionnaires today that it says it's going to ask candidates across the country to answer in this election.
Bloomberg has a lot of money. He is a well-known figure, and you feel like if anybody could challenge the NRA and provide sort of a counterpoint to it, he at least has, the, as I said, the name recognition and the money to do it. But the
and American Armed Services and appointed General Carter F. Ham to lead and command the Grand Army of the Republic, GAR, and its successors under the guidance of the Joint Chiefs of Staff and with their full support. The order stipulated that should it become necessary to suppress commercial mercenary forces operating under the guise of being federal government agencies, including but not limited to the Department of Homeland Security, the Federal Emergency Management Administration, the Internal Revenue Service, the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, General Ham shall assume immediate command and control of all armed forces and services owed to the United States of America, stationed in North America, and shall join them under his command as the Grand Army of the Republic, and that all forces of air, land, and sea are to be employed. Any cost or loss suffered as a result of deployment of the Grand Army of the Republic shall be charged as previously stipulated. All effort shall be made by the Grand Army of the Republic to spare life and property while undertaking any action whatsoever within the states of the Union, without exception. The GAR is uniquely enabled by these orders to operate on the land of the 50 organic states for the purposes of securing the lives and property of the American states and American state citizens. The GAR is not a foreign army and is composed primarily of American state citizens. If they are required to take field positions, the local commanders are ordered to make every effort to communicate the basis of their authority and the reasons for their presence on the American state soil to ensure a prompt cessation of hostilities and a widespread understanding of the usurpations. Excuse me if I just read this and I've not gone through and gotten all the correct pronunciations. I don't have time for that. And acts of fraud which have led to any conflict. It's just major. I figured I want to get it out, and more important than getting words spelled correctly or pronounced correctly. Excuse me. All parties must be brought to understand the nature of the federal government, the limitations of its authority, and their own obligation to act in favor of the organic states of the Union. The Grand Army of the Republic shall continue to operate under General Orders 100, known as the Liber Code, extant from the pen of the last Republic President, Abraham Lincoln. No orders, executive or otherwise, issued by Barack H. Obama pretending authority on the land of the American states while operating as President of the United States Corporation, nor as the President of the United States of America, are owed any performance by the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Ham, or any ordinary. All
that local police officers warn the protesters that it's going to get ugly. Here we go, people. Oliver said the feds are mad that they haven't been able to use this facility. Officers out there warn the people that federal agents will be in Marietta on Monday. They are going to get the next bus through no matter what. Riot gear and shields will be used to push the crowd back. John Henry, a Marietta resident since 1991, was told the same thing by local officers. We're being told that federal marshals, or ICE, will be here in the next few days and that they are bringing riot gear, Henry said. They're apparently going to be blocking off the street with concrete blockades so that no vehicles can get through. The River County Sheriff's Department showed up last night and brought a huge watchtower that shoots up into the air 35 feet.
And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the great is fallen, and is become the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, and the cage of every unclean and hateful bird. For all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, and the merchants